Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Mina Noviana, student number 2519101. In this part, I will explain about part 3, researching literature in language education. Okay, shorten the time, I will explain the summary of this part. Methodological approach, qualitative research. The research objective in literature language education, namely setting the agenda for society for the study of empirical literature, is a problem. But it cannot be avoided. First, we must develop theories and models of literary communication that are quite explicit in comparison with actual activities of literary readers. Second, we must take from it theories and models of hypotheses and predictions to be subject to empirical tests, which in turn produce evidence for preferring one theory or method over another. Third, we must investigate to what extent current practice serves the interest of the participant and the extent to which literary communication has been taken over as a means of asserting a privileged elite interest. Finally, we shall reflect on alternative practice that could advance in the interest of the general audience and encourage the free use of literature as a mode of creativity and self-realization rather than a mode of adjustment and alienation. The Beatitude 1989. Research is a broad idea with many manifestations, although it generally aims to better understand some phenomena. Qualitative research tends to be a very effective approach to social and effective problem inlaying. Current educational research is increasingly having a qualitative or naturalistic orientation. Unfortunately, research based on the idea of language learning as a person's psychological achievement still tends to dominate second language acquisition research. Davis, 1995. Qualitative research, sometimes called naturalistic research, can be understood broadly to refer to an interest in the nuances and detail of specific individual cases and situations, and reservation about what might be premature of overgeneralization. Naturalistic inquiry or qualitative research. First is dual, constructed, and holistic. Second, what knows and what is known in interactive and inseparable. Third, only time and context bound hypotheses are possible, or as opposite of the positivist desire hypothesis for time-free and context-free generalization. Fourth, it's impossible to distinguish cause from effect because all entities are in a state of forming together simultaneously. 5. Value-bound inquiry, or in contrast to the valid experimentalist notion that inquiry must be value-free, which is itself a value statement. Bailey and 1996. 2. After Lincoln and Cuba in 1985. 36. 8. A typical method of qualitative research. The first, observation. Second, interview. The third, text and document analysis. 4. Interest in narrative, for example, life history. The 5. Conversation analysis and discourse analysis. In qualitative methods, there is a concept called the concept of triangulation, which is a study that takes several sources and comparison in drawing conclusion. In these activities, this activity can be done through interviews, observation, and finding source of document that can support the research. The relevance of action research. In action research, it is accepted that research questions should arise from a teacher's own immediate concerns and problems. Crookes, 1993, 135 and 130. Action research spiral can be carried out by starting from a general idea which contains a general idea, then decides the field of action, makes or plans a plan, and takes contains a general idea, then decide the field of action, makes or plans a plan, and takes a general action. Step the action research settled on the first action step. Before taking the first step, the action research becomes more careful and plans a way of monitoring the effect of the first action step. When it is possible to maintain a monitored fact-finding in action, the first steps are taken. As the steps are implemented, new data starts to come in and the effects of the action can be explained and evaluated. The general plan is then revised in the light of new information about the action area, and our second action step can be planned together with the appropriate monitoring procedures. The two steps are then implemented, monitored, and evaluated, and the spiral of action, monitoring, evaluation, and replanning continues. Chemist and McTaggart, 1981. Study of ethnographic and qualitative literature in language education is recommended because of the relative neglect of the perspective of students in Ielle. The research approach chosen will tend to use certain methods rather than others. For example, cognitive interest usually requires a thought-out protocol rather than a questionnaire method of collecting data. A. Think out loud or free-writing protocol. B. Theory journal. C. Oral or written withdrawal or summary. the keepsake, or discussing transcript of lesson with participant after the event, a interview, a questionnaire, the observation, H field notes, A individual reading behavior, G control experiments, G case study, and L triangulation of some of the above. Experimental research. Experimental research, technically understood, is difficult for most of us to carry out in casual text because of the needs for take control. Usual experimental purity is purchased at the expense of the ecological validity on which qualitative research is based is very high. Protocol. The most part, the mo- for the most protocol. For the most part, the research methodology described by example in here chapter is of a qualitative nature. An important exception or partial conception is the use of verbal protocols. I think out loud or tools, or sometimes other less direct and direct methods to investigate individual reading process and strategies. Furthermore, introspection as a method for investigating the reading. Introspection through a protocol of thinking aloud or verbal retrospection in interviews. In an increasingly used method of investigating the reading process, and research have identified strategies, use method of in have identified strategies that both good and bad readers seem to use. They have investigated passages of text that cause reading problems, and they also look at the affective problems that arise when readers process certain texts. Alderson, 2004. Survey research. After the protocol as reading research method, the then there is survey research. Survey research will be used to find relatively factual information about the situation. Typically, such research will involve collecting and studying documents such as schedules, syllabus, statement, and reading lists, interviews with participants and stakeholders such as students, teachers, heads of universities or officials from the Ministry of Education, and a questionnaire. Thank you. The next part will be explained by Nurul Minati Sania. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Nurul Minati Sania, and in this video I will comment or review about Ina Noviana's performance about the poem with the title Captain or Captain. I like about Ina Noviana's video because she is very calm and her performance is good. She is confident, but She always read the script oftenly, and she she is not expressive. Maybe if she speak alone, not read the script oftenly, and more expressive, the performance will be more amazing. About the moral value of the poem, I'm in a line with Ina Noviana. A moral value, what can we have from the poem? We must be kind person wherever and whenever you are. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.